Monday Night Chat with Wong Chen.
Brought to you by the Member of Parliament for Pakatan Jaya in collaboration with Invo.
Okay, for Q&A this week, we've got 3 questions. 1 frivolous one. Thank you, Tanya. 2 not so frivolous. The first one, what is my position on child marriage? No, the position is I totally disagree with child marriage for whatever circumstances. The child, child definition is 18 years old. I don't think it should be illegal for people to marry below the age of 18. Yeah, and I won't even recommend people to get married at 18. I'll recommend minimum 21. That's a personal position. Yeah, why it is bad is because at 18, anybody below 18, I think it's a parenting problem. It's not really the child's problem. So you can't say that she doesn't want to study, or she's she's promiscuous or whatever it is. All this can be addressed by better parenting and parents taking responsibility. Okay, and also the economic cost is tremendous. Imagine an 18-year-old. I can't imagine an 18-year-old making more than like 2,000 ringgit a month, right? So there's no way they can look after a baby. Okay. Now, second question: who do I prefer, Hishammuddin or Zahid Hamidi? Now, this is because Hishammuddin has been appointed as a special minister in the Prime Minister's Department, and everybody views this as basically Najib anointing Hishammuddin to be the successor ahead of Zahid Hamidi. I actually prefer Zahid Hamidi. I know some of you will disagree. I prefer it because in Parliament, he actually attends more Parliament session than Hishammuddin. Yeah? And when he attends Parliament session, he actually answers questions directly and engages in debates. So I find that to be important in a leader. Of course, given a chance, I don't want any of them to be Prime Minister. But the other thing I want to stress is this. I view leaders from their upbringing and their background generally. Okay, I think former children of former prime ministers is never a good idea, because I think they would have lived in a bubble and the sense of entitlement is strong. Yeah, so I always prefer if the prime minister comes from a more humble background and therefore has a heart for, I hope there won't be a situation of kacang melupakan kulit lah. I hope that when they get into a position of power, they remember their roots and will do their bit to help the poor. I think that's the important one. Okay, the last question is, where will I be going during this next 2 long weekends? So the next 2 long weekends we won't have this Monday night chat because Tanya refused to work during the weekends, and rightly so. So she asked me where will I be going. I think I'll be staying home. But I do enjoy maybe a short trip, cuti Malaysia to Malacca or maybe Penang. Yeah, but there's also a possibility that the family might just drive to the beach. So we might go towards the east coast, like Kuantan. Not too keen on driving so far all the way to Kota Baru. Yeah, so have a good weekend, 2 long weekends, and we'll see you in 3 weeks' time. Welcome back to Policy Monday. We've had a long Parliament session, so now we're a bit more relaxed. We're going to talk about taxation this Policy Monday. Broadly, we are going to address the issue whether if we go for zero-rated GST, can we afford it? Yeah. Now, this particular topic is inspired by the fact that on the 13th of April, there was a headline in New Straits Times where it says that 47 billion are stolen from public coffers, in the sense that people did not pay their tax or have been evading tax up to 23 billion a year, roughly. Okay, let's look at the big numbers. The first big number to know is that government revenue for 2017 is projected to be 220 billion. The big ticket items are personal income tax contributes about 30 billion, corporate tax 70 billion, petroleum tax 11 billion, GST 40 billion, excise duty is about 13-14 billion, right? So when we come to power, it's only a question of time, we intend to zero-rate GST. It doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of the GST system. We already invested 5 billion in implementing the reporting system. We'll not get rid of that. What we'll do is we'll go back to the SST level, which means that once we zero-rate most of the GST items, we will be short of 25 billion. Okay? Now, If we're short of 25 billion, what can we do to make up those numbers? We have to look at two things. One, revenue, and the other is expenditure. On the revenue side, it is very clear from the New Straits Times report, 23 billion is lost every year in uncollected taxes. Why do people evade this 23 billion a year? Very clear. One, of course, people don't like to pay tax. Second, the bigger problem is people pay tax, but the government use that money to do stupid things like corruption, mismanagement. Say, for instance, they're supposed to build a road. The road's supposed to last 7-8 years. Instead, it only lasts 7 months, 8 months. Yeah. So people look at the whole environment of the governance issue and say, look, I don't want to pay tax. Yeah, I'm going to evade as much as possible. What we've seen is in Nordic countries where the governments are super efficient and accountable, and the tax rate is about 50%, everybody still pay tax. So what we have to do is improve governance, and people will willingly pay tax. So you got 25 billion shortfall because we zero rate GST. If we run a good clean government, we can make that up by 23 billion. So then there's only a 2 billion shortfall, right? Other benefits that we can get from running a good clean government is quite simple. One, we will get an increase in tax revenue. Yeah, people will be more willing to pay tax, so that's 23 billion. We could also get better ratings from rating agencies like Moody's and S&P, and that could shave about 3 to 4 billion a year in interest payment alone if we get a better rating. Yeah, and better rating will come if you're better run. Now, GLC and GLICs will also contribute more to us. We estimate 5 billion extra. If it's riddled by corruption and mismanagement, it won't be able to contribute as much. Now, the other one that we always use is that the government is corrupt and mismanages a lot of money. And we estimate that corruption to be about 30 billion. So, if you think of a balance sheet, 25 billion loss from zero rating, which is our policy, 23 billion gain from better income tax collection, people more willing to pay because we've got better governance, 30 billion gain from anti-corruption measures, right? About 3 billion to 4 billion gain from increase in GLC performance, 3 billion gain from basically better returns on the rating agencies where we pay less. Yeah, so there's still a positive gain, a net savings of close to about 35 billion a year. Okay, that is why we are certain that with good governance, accountable government, we can turn a negative situation in terms of government revenue to a very positive one to implement most of the things we want to do in the Pakatan Harapan future. Okay.
Hi, my name is Shin. I've been interning in YB Wong Chen's office for a month now. So I was interning during the month of March, which is when Parliament sits. So before we went to Parliament, we were mainly doing research tasks, and we all get to write a policy paper of our own when we're here. And I chose to do mine on sex education, which I finished today. So that was really interesting because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I got to spend most of my days doing research on models in other countries and comparing it to Malaysia and suggesting improvements for it. And when I'm not doing that, sometimes boss calls us in for a talk with all the interns about anything that we want to know about in terms of Malaysian politics or in the international sphere. And then during Parliament, which is I think my favorite part of it, so sometimes we'll go early for breakfast, but then also for boss to film his Monday night chats. And then after that, we either get to do more research tasks on any amendments and bills that are being introduced in Parliament, or we get to sit in the hall to listen to any ongoing debates. And that was really interesting because I've obviously never been to Parliament before while it was sitting. So just seeing the process of all the parliamentarians preparing for their debates and even the press statements given, that was, I think, a very valuable experience to have. The main thing I took away from my internship experience was my analytical skills and my research skills, I think. So because during Parliament we were given bills to read, such as the Stamp Duty Amendment Act, the Bankruptcy Amendment Act, it was really interesting to go through it with the staff on how to pick up details in the legislation itself and even compare it to legislation in other countries and offer suggestions for what could be improved in ours or what models to follow. And I think that's going to help me greatly in my upcoming law degree. if you're interested in being an intern in YB Wong Chen's office, you can submit your CV and a 500-word essay on a topic of your choice to research@wongchen.com.